Well, hello everyone and welcome again. I would like to launch this as my first presentation for you. This is the first of the learning series that we're going to go through, and let us just dive into it. And I want to see, like by the end of this presentation, whether you would like to be a fox or a cat. I know this is a weird question, but you'll understand why I'm saying this. But let me share my screen with you here for a minute. All right, so let us start. So again, this is our first session together. And if you have any comments or you have any questions or anything, please put it down below in the comment area. And this is going to be recording. So any piece of this presentation, if you think that you want to come back to it again, think about it and so on, please feel free to do that. All right, so the first topic is, are you an overthinker? A lot of people find themselves overthinking, analyzing, and getting into a situation where it's called analysis paralysis. Analysis paralysis really does not help us take any action. It makes us feel paralyzed from all the information that we're bombarded with, overwhelming, all kinds of different details that we get into. And we're going to go through this a little bit. So let me start here by telling you the story of the fox and the cat. So the story goes like this. The fox and the cat are talking together, and the fox is boasting and telling the cat how many ways he has to escape, the hunters. And the cat, just sits quietly there, and she says, I only have one way to escape my hunters. So anyway, they kept on going back and forth, and the fox is very proud of what he's saying. So anyway, finally, the hunters come. And right away, in the instant, in the moment, the cat climbs up the tree and hides. And here the fox is running back and forth, analyzing the different ways that he wants to take. And what happens? He gets caught because he couldn't decide which way to go. So he was overthinking, and analyzing, which way am I going to go? Am I going to take this way or that way? Which way am I going to, like, what if I take this way? And what if I take that way? So you can see that the many choices versus one choice, so when we have this limited amount of choices, we make decisions faster. All right. When we have different ideas, a lot of alternatives, depending on the situation that you're dealing with, a lot of alternatives, and a lot of ideas, sometimes we stand still. Sometimes, again, which way to go, which way to, to take action regarding, or which way to decide. So that is, it's paralyzing sometimes. Anyway, we want to discover now why we get into this. Okay, why we analyze until we become paralyzed. And there are several reasons for this. Sometimes we keep on thinking that maybe because I want to reach the right decision, maybe I want to reach the right conclusion, or maybe I'm interpreting this in so many different ways. I want to interpret it the right way. This actually goes a little bit deeper than just trying to decide to reach the right decision. One of the things that we realize here in the situation is that everyone wants to feel valued, right? Everyone wants to feel that, like they have an impact and so on. But the thing is that, like being valued is an intrinsic desire, human desire to be valued. And making a decision or a choice really uncovers part of who we are. It's part of our identity. When we make a choice or a decision, or we think about something and we come up with an idea about it, it shows, how can I say this? It shows, like, what are your values? What drives you? It's part of who you are, your beliefs, your morals. And the way that you communicate it and the way that you impact other people would say, oh, what kind of person is that? So here, like it uncovers part of who you are as well. So that's why it goes a little bit deeper than just than just trying to find the right decision, because it reveals more of who you really are. And of course, I have my notes here just in case I haven't really missed something. I want to make sure that I give you the information that I have as well. So here it's how you affect others and how you reach those conclusions or decisions or interpretations or something. It reveals who you are. So you feel valued more when you see that the impact that you have on other people is huge. Now, the other reason also that, like you keep on analyzing, is that what we call perfectionism, right? So perfectionism actually, like it's becoming an old school. We don't say now, like, okay, I want to do this because I'm a perfectionist. And perfectionist sometimes, it distract us. It distracts us also, detract and distract, because we keep on thinking and analyzing and getting deeper and deeper and deeper and dig deeper into the issues and the matters unnecessarily. Sometimes, we don't need to go that deeper. And also, like we found ourselves involved in more and more and more details. Like what are we going to do with all those details? Those old details, sometimes get us overwhelmed, especially, of course, like if we are in a situation, like, for example, in a relationship. If you are an overthinker in a relationship, so it's like you're walking on fire or walking on eggshells or walking on this narrow tightrope that, like you cannot go this or that because you don't want to upset the person, you don't want to drive them away. Or if at work, for example, you don't want to anger your boss, or you don't want to alienate any of your colleagues or something. So this overthinking, being very cautious and very sensitive about what words I'm going to say, what words I'm going to use, this really, this dynamic, this inner dynamic, it just, what do you call it, drains, and your energy drops. And another reason also why we overthink, and that comes up a lot for, for a lot of my clients that I work with, and that is the fear of failure. We have a tendency to guard ourselves against the fear, against failure, because of course, like it is something that we feel, oh, I failed in doing this, or I failed in making the right decision or something. But actually it is not failure, it is just a different choice that did not work out. Okay. And this is, we're going to, when we look at the process and the things that I'm going to be presenting for you, the strategies to use to stop overthinking, you will see that this is part of the process of learning and growing and to break the pattern, to break the pattern of overthinking. So when we're faced with choices and decisions, which way to go and so on, so either we choose the very first option that meets our needs right away, and oh, perfect, this is what I need right now, so we make that choice. Or we end up that we keep on looking for alternatives, choosing, oh, should I take this one or that one, or should I go this direction or that, like the fox. So if we keep on talking about alternatives and details and so on, that really takes away from, like time and energy and effort, and affects relationships and so on. And also, of course, like if we are overthinking, if we're researching something, if some of you are students still, or somebody is working on a research project or a certain project that needs to be done, we get into some sort of like a research overload. And of course, like the more information we gather and the more information and details we get into some sort of like what I call an information coma, and our productivity actually drops instead of enhances productivity. So, and we will see the research that's coming up also, why this happens to us. Of course, in some research and something like this is a disclaimer, of course, in some research and projects, of course, details are important. Of course, thinking about consequences are important and so on. But again, like in everyday life, in relationships, in all kinds of different aspects of the, like normal decision making and normal life and so on, we don't need to overthink it that much, and not to lose energy and lose sleep over, over the overthinking that we're doing. In certain circumstances, yes, it is needed. But again, there are techniques for decision making. There are techniques of choices. Like there's so many different ways to help you not to overthink. And we'll talk about some strategies also to go through that. So let me tell you about the research. Why overthinking and details and more detract and doesn't help. And this is what is called the JAM experiment. And let me see the name of the researcher who did that. I think it's Sheena Layangar. I hope I'm not butchering her name, the name Sheena from Columbia University. What she did is that she wanted to see when people are faced with a lot of choices, and just a little bit of choices, like, so she made this jam experiment. So people, she put like in the supermarket, uh, um, a booth or something that they had like 24 different varieties of jam on it. And then in another section, she had only 6 varieties of jam. All right. The observation that took place in, like to sample those, of course, the observation that happened here is that the she noticed that a lot of people are attracted towards the 24 different varieties. Oh my goodness, we're going to sample 24 different varieties here. Wow. And they get excited about it. But again, like that did not translate into sales. Only 3% of the people who stopped to buy, like the booth of the 24 different jam varieties, only 3% of them bought jam. But again, where the booth is for only the 6 varieties of jam, the people who sampled it, 30%, 30%, you can see the difference. 30% of the people who stopped at the 6 varieties of jam they actually bought. So you can see that we are attracted to getting more information, getting, to see the alternatives. What if, like, and so on. But again, our brain, if we're talking about neuroscience here, our brain sometimes cannot process all of those choices, at a level of to help us make the decisions and move forward, or help us or direct us towards a certain, a path that we need to take. So the more the alternatives, the greater the difficulty of making a choice. All right. I hope that clarifies also why, like, um, the more we have choices, the more we have information, the more difficult it is to actually reach a quick and a strong decision. So what to do? Now we get into the practical part and what to do about it. So the first step is to get up and shake your body. Once you realize that you are overthinking and you are really getting into that, oh my goodness, which way should I go? And being like the fox, and thinking this way or that way, and so many alternatives and choices. Get up and shake your body. Just get up and jump, do a few jumping jacks on the somersault, like they can see in the picture, and just, like get physical a little bit. The second step you want to do is you want to ask yourself a few questions. And if you want to write those questions down so that when you are in the moment of the overthinking, you find yourself in that rut, you want to ask yourself the questions. First of all, why am I overthinking this matter? Why am I overthinking this matter? What's about this matter that makes me, overthink about it? The second one, what is driving my concern here? What am I concerned about? Okay, what's really going on here? Why am I concerned about this to that extent that it's taking that much time from me? And then another question, is it something that should be done? So it is something that should be done. It's pressing. It has to be done. Or is it something that I wanted to be done? Okay. So if it is something that should be done, you want to figure out, why am I overthinking this? And when should I do it? And how can I do it? And so on. If it is something that I want to be done, then it is not as pressing, but at the same time, like, okay, it can wait, or, whatever, because it's a want, it's not a need or a should. All right. But there's a one huge, important, very important question also that comes up usually when I'm working with people that are overthinkers and so on. And that is, what am I avoiding to face or talk about? Okay. This is usually like an eye-opening question for a lot of people that are overthinkers. What am I avoiding? So I'm thinking of different ways. Yes, I can get some information and so on, but am I avoiding something here? Am I avoiding to face a situation? Am I avoiding to talk with somebody or to talk about an issue with somebody that is, the choice or the decision or whatever issues coming up that's going to affect the relationship, or it's going to affect the career, or it's going to affect a guilt feeling, or what am I avoiding here? So this is a very important question that you would like to think about when you realize that you are overthinking like this. Now, what are the strategies that you're going to follow? Okay, so I'm going to present to you here 8 different strategies. All right. So the step 3, of course, here. So the first step is shake your body. Second step is you're asking yourself those questions. Third step is that you're going to follow one or more of those strategies. The first one is practice making choices and decisions quickly with the simple tasks. Like, for example, if you want to, okay, should I eat cheese or should I eat cereal? Like, should I dress this blue blouse or should I get into the red one? Like those small choices that sometimes we get hung up also and overthink. Oh, should I do this or do that? Just the small things. Try to practice quick decisions in everyday life like this. So this way you'll be able to build up as you go along to more, like, then should I take this route or that route? If you're going to work, if you're going to make a decision with a project, should I take this project or that project? And start thinking deeper about it. But again, get yourself trained into making a quick, in the moment decision, because this way sometimes you can keep on moving forward. And if it's a mistake, get back, like, and we're going to talk about the mistake in a minute here. And then also practice using your intuition. One time, like, not one time, but like a lot of times, like you get in a situation where you say, oh, but that does not feel right. Okay. Oh, but, oh, that feels wonderful. Maybe I would really love to do that. It feels right. It feels fitting. It feels something I could really do. So here is, you want to practice trusting your intuition and trusting what your gut feeling is telling you. And the third one is also practice feeling comfortable with making mistakes. And here's about the mistakes. Okay, if we made a quick decision and we made a mistake, so what? It's okay. We can get back and do, like, and recover that. We can do a different way. Okay, this path did not work out really well. Then I'll take this other path next time. Oh, this project, I can, when I discovered that it was tedious and, oh, it was a mistake using, choosing this project, then maybe I can use another project and work on that other project instead. So sometimes time could be, as like, of course, a factor. Money could be a factor and so on. But remember that mistakes are learning tools. And sometimes even there is one principle that I heard also in there's foundation principles, for example, in IPEC or in other, with Dale Carnegie or other big, huge, like coaching schools and so on. They say, like, there are no mistakes. Mistakes are tools of learning. And sometimes we don't even call them mistakes. We say, like, either I succeed or I learn. It's not that I succeed and I fail. No, it's either I succeed or I learn. So it's really an amazing thing to make mistakes and learn from it. And then there are more strategies. Use what I call the 4D strategy. What's the 4Ds? The 4Ds are: determine a drop dead date. Okay, so if you have a project to work on and you have this whole the details overwhelming, like, or the information coma that happened and so on, you want to make sure that you put a date that is fixed, that's not flexible, that is fixed, so that you would say, okay, I'm going to stop overthinking it on that day and make the decision or make the choice. Okay, so determine a drop dead date. That's a strategy also to use to stop yourself from overthinking. Another one is to stair step the problem. What does that mean? So if you have a problem and you're overthinking it and so on, divide it into small pieces and take each piece and resolve it by itself. So this way you are taking steps forward, and at the same time, you feel that you are progressing towards the final outcome that you're looking forward to. Another strategy also is that don't lose yourself into details, because details can become overwhelming and details can become so um, distracting sometimes. Details are important in huge things, like building a building, building a house, or making a surgery. Details are very important there. But if you are thinking whether to like to talk about something, and you want to put a presentation together and get into all details, sometimes like putting the presentation together here, I wanted to put more details, but said, no, I'm going to lose myself in more details here, and I want to move forward. I wanted to give you the essence of what is overthinking, why we're overthinking, and what's the strategies, the practical part, what to do in order to stop that pattern, and to break the pattern and stop yourself from continuing to do this. Because again, time is a factor, money is a factor, a lot of things, energy is a factor. So you're saving yourself all of this. Okay, more strategies. The seventh strategies here is you want to figure out what you need to know now and what you would like to know in the future. So for example, you're gathering information to make a choice or make a decision or move forward with something. You want to figure out, do I need this information now, or do I need it, or it would be nice to know in the future? So whatever you have now, you can already move ahead with it. You don't have to keep on analyzing, oh, but this can be in the future happening this way or that way, and I can go, but if I go this way, oh, in the future would, you're going to lose yourself in that situation. So you want to think about, do I need this now? How can I make the decision with what I have right now, instead of thinking about, oh, but if I do this, this is anyway, like, there are some situations where it's needed, but you want to make sure that like, you're not in that situation, but you're making the decision or the choice or the whatever step you need to take with that overthinking, to stop the overthinking and make the step right away. And then the last strategy is conduct a 3S check. What does that mean? It means set up a sanity support. What's a sanity support? Amina, come on. A sanity support is have an agreement with one of your colleagues, one of your friends, family member, or anyone, to sort of like give you a sanity checkup, like, okay, I'm overthinking, overwhelmed, like I'm losing my sanity here. So a sanity check is, with this person, they help you figure out, like, what are you overthinking? What are the most important points? And then help you focus and stop the pattern. Because this also, it really takes into consideration that this is a stop point for you, like the date, like the drop dead date. So this is a very important, the sanity support. So in conclusion, I know that I've been talking, and usually in my live workshops and my live trainings, I love to engage with people. I love to ask questions and have it, like, so maybe later on we can have some sort of like a live interaction. So, and we can have our own webinar or something that we can get together and work with it. So we can interact and have this conversation two ways instead of me just be talking to you like this. So in conclusion, you want to figure out whether you want to be a fox or a cat. We know that the cat just climbed up the tree and made it just one choice. And the less the choice, the better, like the jam experiment as well. The second thing is that you want to discover why you are an overthinker. All right. So you want to think about, go back to this presentation. That's why I have it recorded. That's why I wanted you to go back to the points that we mentioned. Why overthinking? What happens there? What's going on there? So, and if something clicks with you or if something resonates with you, think about it, like, okay, how can I work with it? How can I deal with it? That it does not affect me that much and I can stop that pattern and use it in a really productive way. The third thing is that we went through 8 different strategies. So you want to practice and implement one or more of those strategies. And like the more you practice, whatever strategy you choose, whatever strategies, 2 of them or more, it will become a pattern for you. Even these are just small steps, small strategies to help you with your overthinking. Because when we overthink, again, we lose time, and time for me is very, very important. I'm sure it's very important for you too. So we want to make sure that we are productive. We're moving forward in a relationship, in work, in everyday life. We're moving forward. We're not stuck. Like sometimes we say, like, oh, I'm overthinking, I'm stuck. No, we're not stuck. Like you feel safe. You feel safe in your comfort zone because, like, again, sometimes overthinking, it is one of those reasons why we overthink. So you want to think about that. So if you have any questions, please put them down in the comment area, and any, like, or comments, or maybe, like some feedback about the presentation, what else, like we would like to learn about, and so on. So, we can be, again, engaging. I want you to engage with me so that it would be two-way. It's, and the reason why I have this group is that, I want it to be two ways. I don't want it that you just go in and you read a post, or you listen to that presentation and it goes away and you forget all about it. It is meant for us to learn together and grow together. And this is why I have, I'm putting this together as I'm putting, yes, those topics, those presentations together for you so that we can always develop our um, leadership capabilities and skills that would help us succeed as we go along in life. So thank you so much for attending. Again, if you a topic that you would like to learn about, please put it in the comments below, or you can direct message me as well. These are very welcomed as well. So thank you and appreciate it. And also stand by for series number 2, for learning series number 2. And the topic for that one is going to be self-leadership, okay, in times of crisis. Self-leadership in times of crisis, how to conquer fear. Since we are in the situation of the coronavirus and there is fear involved, there's something going on that we don't understand what's happening, and which way things are going to take place. Hopefully it's going to be it will end up all in a good way. So I'm going to talk about how to conquer fear and how to use that energy of the fear to your benefit. Okay? Thank you so much, and I will be seeing you next time.